Good morning everyone and welcome to Jimmy Online. My name is Rodrigo Benavides and I'll be with you guys for the next 5 or 6 minutes. So welcome and let's start watching because for today's episode we got a really interesting topic. Variables. We can think of a variable as a container for a value. This value can be a number, a string, a boolean, or another type of value. What is important about variables is that this value can be changed. In JavaScript, there is an important difference between declaring a variable and initializing it. Yes. So here we have our first file. The name I gave to this file is the variables.js. So we're gonna simply write some code here, and down there we're gonna run this, execute our JavaScript file with Node. So down in the description I attach the link to the website of Node so that you can download it and use it. So let's type and let's create two variables here. The way you create it is by using the keyword var, and then you have to give it a name. In this case, we can just say string. This is gonna be a string equals and a string. Hi. So second variable that we're gonna create is gonna be a number. This number we can just assign any value. In this case, just 100, and let's use it now. Let's print our string var. Let's pass it here, and then the second one. Okay, here we go. There's gonna be a number and the variable number var. Let us save and let's run it. So that's the way we use variables. We have the keyword var, the name, and the actual value. So another thing that I wanted to show you is that you can just declare this variable first and later assign a value. But what happens if you never assign any value is that, let me run it, JavaScript is assigning an undefined value automatically. So let us write the assignation. So here we go. We have to type the string. This is gonna be hello, and the number var. We can just simply type 50. So there we go. Now we have it. In JavaScript, we have dynamic typing, and this is actually the capability that the language gives us to just change the type of this data when we are reassigning a new value to this variable. For example, if we get a string and then we assign just a number, it doesn't matter, the type will be automatically changed. All this topic about the types in JavaScript will be discussed in another chapter because we need to go into details of each one of the types like booleans, arrays, strings, and number. To understand the main difference between var and let, we got to know what exactly is the scope in JavaScript. In this book, the definition of the scope of a variable is: the scope of a variable are the locations where it is accessible. What it means is that whenever you can get access to this variable, we can call it as its scope. So that we have var and let. The scope of a var is a function, and the scope of a let is a block. What does that mean? Well, let's check an example. Now I want to show you what's the difference between var and let. So in here, I created this function, main with this variable animal and this sentence right here. And in here, we are printing the value of this variable inside of this if, conditional if. If you don't know how to use or how to work with this type of conditionals, we will have another chapter just for conditionals. So don't worry about that right now. So what I want you to check here is that I have this variable whose name is animal, and I have this variable declaration here inside of this block that is assigning the value of frog. All right, so what is happening is we first give it a value of mosquito, then we give it a value of frog. So inside we are printing this variable, and outside after this block we are then printing the same name of the variable. So let's see what happens. All right, so we have my animal in block scope is frog, and then we have my animal in function scope frog. So we have the same value. This is the function scope. This is the block scope. But what is happening is that in both printings, we are referencing the same variable because we are using the keyword var. Because for variables, we have function scope. Whatever is defined in this function, it's going to be accessible in every line inside the function, and it's going to work fine. So let's check what's happened. What is going to happen if we change this to let? Let me save it and let me run it. So now we have frog here and then mosquito that was first initialized in the line number 4. So what do you think is happening here? What's happening is that, as I said, the let variable, the let keyword, is creating another scope because of this block. Okay, so the scope of a variable, the scope of var keyword is a function, and the scope of let keyword is a block. So here we have two different variables. One is this one right in the number 4, which is actually mosquito, and then we have another new variable in the line number 7, which is frog. So that's why we are printing frog in this line and we are printing mosquito in the second line because we have two variables now. All right, so now I created another example about the difference between var and let. When all the stack queue is completed in JavaScript, then in an asynchronous way, we're gonna execute whatever is in here. Okay, so what are you expecting to have? For each cycle, we are passing this I, and we want it to execute it, and we want to print it. So let us run it, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we have index 5555. The actual value of this variable for each cycle is changing as we might expect. But at the end, it's always printing 5. Why do you think this is happening? And what is happening is, even though we are increasing this value here, this is referencing always to the same variable. So by the time all of these cycles were finished, the last value of this variable is gonna be 5 because of this. So what will you do just to fix it? Let us change this to let, and let us check what is going to happen now. And here we go. Here we have the problem fixed. But what is important here is that we have to understand that now for each cycle, we are creating a different variable. And this variable is being passed to this later execution context. And then we have the right value for each cycle in the timeout. So it's interesting, right? Probably this example was a little bit more complex, but it's actually really good for explanation of this difference between var and let. So keep it in mind and let's continue. Now we're gonna use const. The way we use it is just exactly the way as we use the others. Now it's with the keyword const, the name, it's gonna be my first constant. And then we assign a value. Now let's use my little cat. All right, so let us check what we have here, and we have it. My first const, and then we got the value. Okay, all right, so let us just try now to change the value of this variable, of this const. Let me now assign dog, my little dog. What is going to happen now? There we go. We have a problem here. And the problem says assignment to constant variable. So we cannot do that. We cannot just create a constant and then later in the code try to change the value of this constant. It's not possible. That's why we're having this problem, this error right here. So constants are meant for that in the code, just to create a variable, well, a value that will never change in our life, well, in the code, in the application. So let's just have it here and let's run it. That's it. Now let's check some of the name rules for a variable in JavaScript. We cannot use numbers as a name of a variable. Variables are case sensitive. Well, then it's not the same my age than my age. Never use reserved words as the name of a variable. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it. For the next episode, we got a JavaScript special, garbage collector. Yes guys, in the next chapter, we'll be checking what is the garbage collector in JavaScript. This is one of our JavaScript special episodes. I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that you can subscribe to the channel in case you liked it. And if you have any comment or suggestion, just let me know. See you next Monday.